Okay, well, we might have a few more trickle in here, but we'll go and get this kick started. We record all of our webinars anyway, so if you are coming late to the party, that you can always catch up and come check out what you missed so far. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be listening in from. My name's Justin DeVore. And today's webinar, we're going to kind of continue on from a webinar I did last month. It was taking a point cloud surface that we had created and then brought that into InfraWorks and then into Civil 3D. So we're going to kind of continue on from that. There's a lot more we can do there. Going to show some cool stuff to do with that surface and hopefully kind of showcase some of the power of utilizing more than just one product that we're used to using, okay? So, and we'll kind of go through that. So many of you may have a workflow of your own, or maybe you're starting out and trying to get into it. Either way, you know, I found there's really multiple ways of getting something accomplished. You know, there's no one program that does it all. There's no one workflow that does it all. So this is just kind of one way. Hopefully everybody on the call can kind of take a use out of it, you know, whether it be something to improve your workflows or switch, or just kind of verify that, like, yeah, we're good, but we're on the right track. So yeah, I'll be highlighting, mostly kind of jumping around in InfraWorks and Civil 3D, kind of showing how we can balance both of those two programs and utilize them to their full advantage. And then kind of given some time, we'll probably jump into Revit or Recap, or kind of depending on how some of the questions go, we might steer off course a little bit. But that's kind of how I like to kind of run things a little bit, let it be open if there's questions and things like that. I have the chat and the question answers open, so feel free to kind of utilize those. It is just me monitoring it, so I may get to your questions a little later or things like that. But again, feel free. And then we are recording this as well. So, and it'll be back up. It'll be up on YouTube later. So a little bit about me. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Justin DeVore. I'm a senior reality capture specialist and civil specialist here with ATG, and I'm based out of our Phoenix office. I've been with ATG over 7 years, just a couple months shy of being 8 years, and I've been in and around civil and survey since college. And now my pandemic beard is getting longer every day. So as I mentioned, it'll just be me today. So feel free to jump into the chat and ask questions, things like that. Okay. All right, let's kind of start off with a quick summary from what the webinar I hosted last month. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, and if you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a link popping up to the video somewhere around here on the video. So feel free to check that out. Last time, we cleaned up a point cloud, so we went through a full workflow from drone capture, and then we went into Esri site scan, looked and did some measurements. We exported that point cloud, brought that through Recap, and then we brought that into Civil 3D, and then we also brought that into InfraWorks to kind of compare the surfaces. So went through there, and kind of highlighted that the tools built within InfraWorks really helped get a lot more detail with a smaller file size on that. And part of that's due to Civil 3D really not having changed their point cloud surface creation tools in the past like 8 to 10 years. And InfraWorks being what they've been kind of focusing on for that. So anyway, that's kind of a recap for that. And today's agenda, we'll be starting with that surface that was created last time. And then we'll be go ahead and laying out roadways. We'll be creating some alignments, corridors in Civil 3D. Then we'll bring that data back into InfraWorks, and then also kind of showcase another workflow kind of utilizing InfraWorks to Civil 3D. So we'll kind of compare and contrast there. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in and all that. Want to touch base on a few housekeeping items. So lots of cool stuff kind of going on here at ATG. Tons of content always kind of coming out. Actually, we have 2 webinars going on right now. So those listen to mine, but there's also a reality capture one talking about the Be Okay to Go and large projects going on at this time as well. So if you're in this one, you can go back to the YouTube channel later today or tomorrow when that other video is being uploaded. And or you can keep up with just coming to the website. You know, there's an event calendar in the upper right that lists all the upcoming webinars, as well as access to other products, services, training, technical support, anything you can really need there. And then finally, our hardware partner, BIMbox. I'm running one myself during this presentation, so if you were kind of curious about that, feel free to reach out to anyone over here and really just kind of present the challenge you guys are facing, and let's come up with a resolution together. So before we kind of jump into live and get off of this PowerPoint, we'll kind of take a quick look at kind of where we'll be starting. So again, we have a surface created. So what are the next steps? Now, if we're looking at a purely civil 3D or civil engineering type role, when we go to layout roadways, we already have that surface. So I think I have all these steps correct here. But the next step will be to create the alignment for those roadways. And then we'll need to create some profile views for those. And then we'll need to create profiles on those profile views, create an assembly, and then create a corridor as well. So let's go and dive into that. Let's go and exit out of the PowerPoint. And we'll go and kind of recap. So here was the existing ground surface we had made last month. Okay, so we see that we got it basically down to existing ground and kind of cleaned that up. I'm looking at that here in InfraWorks. If we want to take a look at the point cloud, we can just go ahead and turn that on. Let's go to Model Explorer and we'll turn on the point cloud. So here's what we had started with. So we had cleared out all the extra noise, trees, vehicle, thing like that to get down to that existing ground surface. So we'll come back and utilize this. I'm just going to go and turn off the point cloud and we'll switch over to Civil 3D. Okay, so here was that surface again that we had created in InfraWorks and then brought that into Civil 3D. So now we have this. Let's go and take a look at it. We can go to the object viewer. And yeah, we have pretty good surface. So we don't have any spikes or anything like that in there. We can also just take a quick look at the 10 because one thing we had highlighted last time was going through the InfraWorks workflow. We got really tight triangles without slowing down Civil 3D. So you see a lot of tight triangulation in here. Okay, so that was going through that process in there. Okay, let's go ahead and switch that back. And let's go and start off with some road work. Okay, we'll just do contours, background, sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and lay out some existing groundwork. So we have kind of 2 roadways here. If we take a look back at our reference, we got a little highway and then looks like a little dirt road and then another one off into here. So let's go ahead and kind of go through what that workflow would be like in Civil 3D. So first things first, we're going to need an alignment, right? So a lot of different ways we can create that. So I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just go ahead and kind of trace a polyline and then offset that around here. So I'm just going to kind of do this fast. So I apologize if the way I'm putting this together drives you crazy. Actually, we'll, yeah, explode that. Angle, our radius is 450. That'll work. Okay, and then we'll fill it. And then we'll get that to our maybe center line. We'll just call it 15 feet or so. Or maybe a little less than that. That wasn't quite on there. So we'll go offset 10 feet. All right, let's go ahead and go from there. All right, so we kind of have a center line there. Let's go and make another one over here. Maybe follow this high point along this road here. Now, typically on this particular project, it was the use case was not for this. It was more for the existing conditions of the station there. So the roadway wasn't critical there, but we made as far as a more appropriate workflow, we would have survey go out and shoot those brass caps for us, as well as maybe some edge of pavement shots and things like that to add to and combine to our surface. So I'm not just kind of laying this out here, but for demonstration purposes, this will be just fine. Okay. All right, so then the next thing, we'll just go and kind of create alignments from there. So we'll just go and create from object. Go and select this one first. And that direction is fine. I have everything on the other screen. All right, we'll just call this road, and we'll call the other one highway. Won't put it to a site for now, and we won't do curves. So we'll just go and say, okay. So we've created that alignment, and then let's go and create the other one from objects. And this one we'll name as highway. Okay. Just leave that. Okay. So the next step will be to create profiles for these roads, right? So we'll go ahead and go to profile view and create a profile view. It's on my other screen. Let's move that over. Let's go and start with the road first. So we'll go and select the road as our alignment. Profile view name, let's go and change that up. Let's just do parent alignment as that type. Since we're only doing 2 today, that'll be fine. Okay, view style, we'll just kind of leave some of the defaults. Yeah, we'll have it do on the start and end, even though I probably should have extended that, but that's okay. Okay, so we'll just leave all the defaults and we'll just kind of throw that off into the side here. So we have that in there, and then let's go and create our other one. Profile view for the highway, parent alignment, and we'll go and create. Okay, so we have those in there, and let's go and create our profiles. So we'll create a surface profile, and let's just go and start with the road first, and go and select my surface. I have a combined surface. Just a little bit of background. There was a hole over here, so I just kind of created a little surface in here to kind of fit that with the existing ground. So I have a combined surface. So that's why I'm selecting that one. And we'll draw. Next. Oh, I created another one. That's okay. We'll just delete that. These other ones. Okay. Let's do that again. Combined road, draw and profile view. Next. Okay, so we have our existing ground for the road profile. And then if we wanted to, so this has the existing ground listed over there. So let's go and bring up our profile creation tools, which are somewhere on my other screen, probably. go. Okay, we'll go ahead and do, we'll just leave the stuff on there, and then we'll just kind of draw our tangents in here. So we'll go and start at that end of the road and then just kind of follow along. Maybe we're doing design surface or getting to the existing. So we'll just kind of trace over that. Okay. All right, so that's in there. Okay, so now we have our profile and design road. And then we would need an assembly, right? So let's go ahead and make an assembly for that. We'll just go and create a simple assembly. Call it, let's go Crown Road and hit OK. And then we'll just add our sub-assemblies to there, okay? So let's bring up our tool palette. Bring that over here. Try to stretch this a little bigger so we can all take a look at it. There we go. All right, let's just go ahead and make a simple lane. We'll do a lane over here, and we'll just go and make that. I think that road, we had a 10-foot width, so we'll go ahead and do that. Slope at 2%, sure, that'll work for what we're trying to show here. So we'll go and select over here, add that lane, and then maybe we'll just do grade after this because we didn't really have a shoulder on the side. So we can go and put that on there. Let's just go to generic, and we'll link to surface, or we'll slope to surface in here. Length slope, trying to think. Yeah, we'll just link to surface here. Okay. All right, so if we have that, and then we can go ahead and we'll mirror to the other side. Right click, mirror. Oops. Select that, right? There we go. Cool. And then the next step here, we have is to create the corridor off of that. Okay, so then we'll go create the corridor. Yeah, we'll just call this the road. Road. Hit OK. We'll use that road alignment, and we'll use that surface. Actually, we'll do that layout because that we had drawn one in there. And then we'll use that assembly we just created, and target surface, we'll do that combined. Okay, so we'll hit OK. And apply and OK, rebuild the corridor, hit OK. Clear refresh. Okay, so we kind of have a funky looking corridor in here, but that's more or less the premise of how to do that in Civil 3D. Okay, so we could kind of do our design in here and get started with there. So we can have, maybe make this existing ground conditions. And then if we have a change, we'll go and create something like that. But what I kind of wanted to showcase was just those steps. Maybe these are steps that we're familiar with, just doing this in Civil 3D. But there's other programs out there, just like we all say, there's 12 different ways to draw a line in AutoCAD. So it's the same kind of premise there. So let's kind of go through a Infraworks workflow, more or less at the same thing. So we have this same surface, we grab that in there. So let's go ahead and create a roadway in here. So let's go ahead and go to create, and we'll just start with a planning road. And we'll go ahead and do street and intersection. Street. Interstate. Okay. Okay, so here I can just kind of trace over my road a little bit. I can make adjustments after. I'm just trying to get it in. Okay. We'll go and end that in there. Then we'll do the same for this highway. Just kind of get the highway in for now. Okay. And we can go ahead and make adjustments here, I'll kind of do those, but right now I want to do an existing. So one kind of neat thing here in Infraworks is we can save multiple proposals. So up here, we have master. So typically master is going to be anything existing, and then we can add on from there. So we'll just do one for existing roads. Road, yeah. Okay. And we'll go ahead and let's go and make those connect. And it's just simply dragging and drop, then it wants to snap and make that intersection for us. Okay. And then if we want to go ahead and make, let's go and finish this out first before we get going on that. We could make some adjustments here to the existing. So let's go ahead and let's just go and add another, and we'll just say maybe design changes. Okay. All right, so maybe this road's too low here, so maybe we're just going to kind of bump this up and have, and Infraworks is going to kind of put in the grading objects for us. We can change and update a lot of this information later on, but I'm in planning road right now, so we'll go ahead and let's just go and raise that up so that we see something different when it comes in back into Civil 3D. Okay. And then let's go ahead and select this, and we'll go ahead and make this a component road. Now that I have my plan's kind of like my layout, and then component is where I can get these additional features in here. So now when I select this, I have a lot more control over my stationing, where I want my beginning of curb, end of curb in there. I can adjust the radiuses here, right? So I can select any of these lengths or radius, that kind of stuff in here to make my adjustments, as well as the different components. So here we have a lane. Let's go and lengthen the way. This lane is 10 feet. So we'll go and do that. We can do a slope across here if we want, 2%. Okay. And then the next item over here looks like we got a median in there. That's fine. Let's just go and change that though. I don't want a median, so I'm going to go ahead and right click it, and I'm going to replace the component, maybe with a bit of a shoulder. So let's go and put maybe like a 2-foot shoulder in here. So 2-foot shoulder, and maybe 5% be fine there, just to kind of see what it looks like. And then the next thing we have is grading. So that's basically going to grade based on our conditions, whether we're looking for 4:1 or 8:1 or 20:1. That's just going to grade, fill or cut to our surface. Okay, so let's go and select the other lane, make that adjustment to 10 feet. And let's go and change that other replace component with shoulder. Make this 2-foot. Okay, so we kind of have a road in here with component road. Let's go and add the highway one. So we'll go and select this. We'll go and make this a component road. I'm just doing right click to do that. Okay. And let's go ahead and make some adjustments here. So we got a lane width here. The lane width of this highway, this was out in Hawaii, so it's not very wide, but 12 feet wide. Okay. 12 feet. Oops. Okay. And let's do the same over here. So let's replace that component. We don't have a median or a little bit of grass there. Let's go ahead and replace that component with another shoulder. Okay. We could do other things. We could add another lane, or jersey wall or other things like that, but other components. We'll kind of get to some more of those later. Okay, so we have a shoulder. Let's go ahead and do that shoulder. Looks like this is a pretty wide shoulder, so we'll do maybe like a 15-foot shoulder. Okay, and same on the other side. Lane's 12 foot. We'll replace this component. Another shoulder. We did 15 for the other one, so we'll do 15 on this one. Okay, and then we have our grading after that. Okay, so we have those components in here. Again, like I mentioned, we have this design changes. So I have those component roads, but if we went back to our existing road condition, this is still a planning road, right? And this is still that there. So we still have we kind of have different snapshots or different ways to get back into there. Same thing if we go back to the master, that'll be, yeah, back to where we had saved that in there, or we can add those in there. So let's go back to the design changes. Okay. So we have this roadway in here. Maybe we're making some adjustments, things like that. Maybe we're adding a driveway. You know, maybe this isn't a lot for a substation, but maybe it's a lot for a house. Okay, so we can also work with our other disciplines as well in Infraworks pretty easily. So I have a model here from an architect of a building. So we can see I have all my Revit elements and things like that listed in here. So I saved that out. Let's go and bring this one into Infraworks. Okay, and we'll have it on the design changes area as well. So we'll go ahead and go to the data sources, and let's just go and bring in a Revit model. Okay. Okay. This is going to take a couple minutes in there to go ahead and upload this in there. So we'll give it a second to do there. And let's go and jump into Civil 3D a little bit. So we could continue on with our corridors over here, things like that, but I kind of want to showcase, remember we had made this one, we have an alignment, 2 alignments, the highway and road, and then we also have our surfaces and corridor as well as our assembly. Okay, so we have all this information here in our Civil 3D drawing. Okay, all right, so it's processed and ready to configure. So we'll go and configure that. We'll just go ahead and do center 2D. I'm just going to do interactive placing. If that Revit model had a coordinate system in place, we could do that in there, but I'm just going to go and place it. And it's going to want to snap basically to our road. So if I brought that over to here, it's just kind of following along the surface. So we'll just kind of pretend they want their house over here. We'll go and double click that and close and refresh. Okay, so now we have a Revit model in here without a roof, but we have that available to kind of see. That way we can kind of work with maybe our architecture friends. You know, they may have a hard time seeing what we see here. Be like, oh, I see this as a road. And they're like, now that just looks like a bunch of lines to me. You know, that's kind of where Infraworks can help illustrate some of that. Be like, yeah, we have that there. It's like, oh, okay, could we make a driveway? So it's like, sure. And you could all do this in a meeting too. So it'd be like, yeah, let's pull up our planning road. Let's just keep what we had going on. Yeah, that one was still selected. So we might be like, okay, where do we want this? Yeah, I want to meander it over here maybe, and then into the driveway. Okay. And then could kind of go through and make those adjustments, tie that into the road so that we get that graded together. Okay. Maybe it's going to be a little higher, kind of thing like that. So we have nice, that's quite drastic slope, but that's okay. Okay, so we have we have our road in there. We have our other road. Maybe there's some other elements that we need to put into here. Maybe we need to do some detention ponding or something like that. So we can just do a quick little grading area over here. Okay. And let's just go ahead and kind of bump these up. Maybe we'll do more of a berm or more of a hillside attraction or something like that. Okay, so I'm kind of getting these in here. I can move and adjust my grips as needed. Okay. Or bring it down as well. Okay, so we got a little bit of detention with some that in there. We can add a water feature if needed, water area. Okay, so maybe a little bit of a pond there. And as we make our adjustments, we'll see that will adjust and keep the grading associated for us, keep the boundary of what we had decided for the pond here. Okay, so we have a gradual slope in here, whereas here we have more of a retaining or cliff type option in here. Okay, so we have some of those items in here. We can also do other items too. So we could do maybe fill in some of the tree work. You know, maybe we're working with a landscape architect over here and they just, you know, we need to convey the idea. Yeah, so we got the trees over here listed. And then if we select them, we can go ahead and change their density, change their type. Maybe this tree is going to be something else. So we can kind of pick, you know, whatever maybe this is. Okay. Just to kind of change some things up, you know, a little outside of our what typically we've seen in civil. Okay, so we could add a whole bunch of those kind of things to be able to showcase, as well as, you know, we need to still engineer this, right? So we still need to go do our checks, and we still need to do, yes, I have my information here on, you know, what type of slope I want, what type of lane width, and everything like that. So let's go ahead and bring this into Civil 3D. So let's go ahead and export out as IMX. Okay, we'll just use the entire model, but I could select an area. Maybe I was just working on a grading area, for example. And then let's go ahead and export that. So we'll do webinar, and today is 6/22. And export. Okay, so it's pulling out all this information. It's pulling out the surface information, pulling out basically the roadway work and things like that. So when that's done, we'll go and switch over to Civil 3D and take a look at it. Okay, so now that that's exported, again, well, actually, let's go ahead and jump into that existing roadway one. Okay, before we made all those changes, let's go and export this one as well, so we can do a little compare and contrast. So this one webinar, but we'll just call this just existing. Okay, and export that. Okay, while that's exporting, we'll go and jump into Civil 3D. Let's go ahead and just do a new drawing and see what comes with the IMX. Okay, so if we look here, we don't have any alignments. We don't have any pipe networks. We don't have any corridors or assemblies in here. Okay, so clean slate. Now, if we go to Infraworks and import that IMX file, let's go and do the webinar one. Okay, so now we have all that information here. So see, we did not change that planning road into a component road. So now we have a whole bunch of PIs or yeah, a whole bunch of information there. So that would be something that we might want to change and adjust. Yeah, or we can just go and delete that area, right? So this came in as all different objects. So here's that alignment. I can go and select that alignment and delete it. Here's that grading group all into there. I can make my adjustments or move it off to the side, those kinds of things like that. Okay, so it also built us corridors here. So if we look over in our prospector, we have two surfaces in here, a proposed and an existing, right? We have some alignments, created a 1 and 2 alignment, easy enough to update and change those to our naming convention. Okay. We also have corridors 1 and 2, and then it also built us assemblies. Now, here we go. We got assemblies in there. So this, to me, was a lot faster than maybe our traditional way, but you know, it's just another option of something else to do to be able to do that. We see we have our pond that we had created in here. And then if we take a look at everything, let's just go and look at that in Object Viewer. Okay, we just have that proposed surface. But yeah, we can kind of see our little grading object and things like that in here. So now in Civil 3D, we could kind of make some adjustments here. We might be able to, let's go ahead and make a proper intersection of this. So we'll go ahead and split our corridor. So I'll do corridor splitter. Okay, it's saying select corridor. Go and select this one. Split region command, yes. And select a corridor. And region to split. We'll go and split it up here. There we go. Okay, so we split our corridor into 2. And let's go and just drag this one down here. Okay, so we have that split. Now we could work on a different intersection here in Civil 3D, right? We could maybe run through our intersection tool here, or we could kind of create alignments based on that road work that this all came from Infraworks. So if we take a look at where go into the design changes, if we go select this intersection, that line work right here, that came into Civil 3D with us as well. So if I wanted to make an adjustment, I could just kind of follow along here and make that adjustment to my intersection, right? And then I can export that back out and bring that into Civil 3D. Okay, so a couple different options in there. Again, it's very useful how much information get brought into there. So yep, we can make that intersection in there. Let's go and take a look at that other IMX file, the one with the existing in there. So let's go ahead and go back to Infraworks and import, and we have that existing. Okay, again, just blank drawing, just want to kind of show all those information in here. So again, see, we had that planning road versus that component road in there. So now we have a lot more information. Basically, the only useful part of this is the fact that it created alignments for us, you know, have those in there. You notice we do not have corridors in here, and then no assemblies either. Okay, so that's kind of the difference between like a planning road. You know, maybe we are just planning and trying to get a layout in there. We're not too concerned about the lane widths and the engineering involved in there. So kind of a lot of different ways to do different proposals in there. Any questions so far? I don't really see any activity on the chat, and make sure that I'm not missing anything yet. But that's kind of some of those in there, or hopefully you can all hear me too and doing all that. But yeah, so we kind of looked at those. Let's see what else we had on the list. Okay, proposals within Infraworks. We inserted a Revit model. Let's go and go back to our presentation. Okay, so what did we go through? We laid out some roadways. We did it both in Civil 3D and Infraworks. showcase some kind of quick design changes, whether that be in Civil 3D, export back that out, or into InfraWorks. Briefly touch base on proposals within InfraWorks. Awesome, thanks, Colin. We touched on some proposals within InfraWorks. We inserted Revit model. That was kind of quick and things like that. But it's really more to showcase the idea of how do we bridge that gap between the planners we work with and the architects and the survey and everything else. Like kind of the idea is utilize some of the tools, and the fact that InfraWorks is kind of a repository to where we can bring in a Revit model, we can bring in a point cloud. Again, we have that point cloud turned off, but we could turn that back on, and we still have the trees over here. We still have other items. We can bring in some more information. We can even just bring in like people or cars or anything like that. Let's just bring in some city furniture. So let's go and bring in a green car. Oops. Should have double clicked because I did not want to do a row of cars. There we go. So we can bring those in that way, everybody can see it, even our bosses. It's like, hey, what did you do? Like, oh, I made a road. I don't know what that looks like. So we could do those in there. Then also the copy and paste commands work here as well. So we Control C and Control V. Go and place that over here, and then maybe we want to change this into something else. Maybe a bicycle or into a person kind of walking around there too a little bit. So we can kind of see this all start to come together. We have our fully engineered road. We brought that into Civil 3D. Let's just say that we've made changes and we got our engineering all done here, and then we brought that back into InfraWorks. So now we can kind of get in a meeting with everybody, show the owner, show the architect, show everybody, and we're kind of at the helm here and be like, oh, okay, I have a design change for you, like those never happen. Let's go ahead and move this road. I want my driveway to be somewhere else. So we can kind of do that and make those changes. Again, we might want to do, hey, let's do another proposal. Let's do changes from customer. Okay. So that way we don't lose in case they're like, oh, never mind, I liked it the old way. Okay, so we can just kind of make some of these adjustments on the fly, have it tie back in. Maybe they didn't want that there, they wanted, let's go and grab those. And you see it's updating with everything real time. We can even lower this down if they wanted to kind of do. Let's go and turn off the point cloud. That's kind of getting in the way. But we can see as we raise and lower some of these areas, it's doing adjusting for the grading. And then when I go to export that back out, let's go and just see this one too. Let's go and do the entire model. And we'll just say webinar customer changes. Okay, proper naming convention. I'm sure it's driving you all crazy, but kind of tends to help with the videos and things like that, and instead of following through with customer initials and what version and what phase and everything like that. So exporting that into there. Okay, all right, so now that that's exported, let's go and take a look at that too. Again, I just like to kind of showcase new drawing, but we could bring this into the other ones as well. Maybe make some changes as we have along, or utilize the data shortcuts, upload different surfaces that we made, maybe updated the grading. We could put that in there, but let's go ahead and import that IMX and customer changes. So again, we see we have that roadway change immediately. I should have made that a component road. Let's go and do that. convert to a component road. And let's just go ahead and remove that sloped median. We don't need it, and I don't want to change it to anything else because this is just a driveway. Delete component. Or if we want to add a component too, let's just say let's go ahead and maybe add decoration. We'll go and add maybe a guardrail on one side. So guardrail will be fine. And let's just go and do this on that outside so we can kind of look at that guardrail. Let's go and adjust that spacing in here. Let's do maybe like 20. That's a little closer. Let's go 15 or 12. Okay. Something like that in there. We can change the scale of it, change the height. We can change that rotation if it wasn't facing the right way. You know, we can change that in there. 0. Okay. And let's go ahead and export this out. Again, we have trees, we have a car, people, we have water features. We even have a Revit model in here. But when I go to export IMX, it is including all of this information. We'll do customer changes part 2. Because they like to change things mid-project. Okay, so again, we have all this information. We have a couple surfaces in here. We have, again, the trees, the cars, we have some road work, things like that. Now, I could bring some of this information into Revit, okay? And it's only gonna pull the relevant Revit information, maybe some site work that it cares about, maybe some of that lane fixtures and things like that. But when I bring this into Civil 3D, again, let's do a new drawing to compare for IMX part 2. Because we're bringing it in to Civil 3D, Civil 3D is going to only bring in the stuff it cares about. It cares about the grading objects, things like that. But you notice that Revit model did not make it into our Civil 3D drawing. That's fine. You know, like the architect is in control of that Revit model. But here we have our component road finally, and we have that grading on there. But also you notice we don't have that guardrail we added. So we can kind of do a little bit of both. We can have not only a very engineered set and get all of our, you know, slopes and grade breaks and everything like that, how we need it, you know, you and I and or those that are in the civil industry, like when you look at this line work, I see road and grading immediately, you know, but if we show anybody else, it's going to take a little bit of explanation for them to be able to see it the way you do. Or you can kind of bring that in here and be like, oh, I get it. You know, you got some road work in there, and that's a nice touch, adding that guardrail, safety first, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, that's let's go and jump back over, make sure that we covered everything. Okay, import, export. Again, you can go back and forth. Just kind of wanted to highlight, you know, sometimes we get stuck in just like, I only work in Civil 3D, or I only work in AutoCAD, or I only work in Revit, you know. The fact that they're all underneath the Autodesk umbrella, they all play nice and they all fit in and out of each other very well. So to be able to kind of bridge that and make things more productive, more efficient, things like that. So any additional questions? We got basically 10 minutes left till the top of the hour. If there aren't any questions, we can kind of cut this short and let you get back to your lunch or whatever you were doing to join in. Or we can take 10 minutes and kind of jump around to anything specific. But while I let those roll in, I appreciate everybody attending the live webinar, and those watching on YouTube later, you know, thanks for watching. And I hope everybody has a good day. Okay, Colin, I see you raised your hand. Oh, okay. No worries. Just an accidental hand raise. Okay. Any questions? And as always, we're always pushing out different content. We're always looking for other ideas too. So maybe after you've had a chance to sit and chew on this for a little while, please feel free to reach out to me or anybody else here and just kind of say like, hey, I'd like to learn more about this. And whether that be something I know I could present on it, or if it's something somebody else knows they could present on that as well. So always look for ideas. You know, again, we're here to help out and consult and, you know, make things useful, more efficient, and go that way. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I always get nervous doing it live, but I'm never satisfied with the recordings I do because I go off on different tangents from time to time. So I'm like, oh wait, that's right. In the video, I wanted to do it this way, but again, it did help to have the bin box on here. That's been nice to not have it crash during that. So I got a little more confident with going live and just kind of selecting some things. But appreciate the feedback, and I think we'll let everybody out a little early then. So, all right, have a good one, everybody. Till next time.